Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, Molly, TJ, and 3 interviews of those two lovely ladies and whatever the hell that third one was. Listen, the first two were great, right? They answered all the questions. They really seemed like they were really committed and, wanted the baby to be like healthy and everything like that. So the first two were fine. And then the third one came in. And part of me was like, you should have probably stopped that too, right? Because when the third one came in, the first thing that she said when I think Molly or TJ was like, so what's your diet like? And she was like, well, whatever's on sale. But since you guys are flipping the bill, I'll eat whatever healthy food y'all want me to eat. All right, well, ladies and lady, thank you for coming through. We really appreciate your time and everything. I would have cut the interview right then and there. Right then and there, that would have been enough. Because throughout this interview, she just kept digging herself more into a hole, constantly bringing out, how much money am I going to be able to squeeze out of you people? So the fact that they actually sat there and they entertained her as long as he did was just an honest waste of time. Because let's be honest, we all knew that they were not going to sit there and pick her. They had their two, they were fine. One of the chicks was going to be a backup. I think her name was Chelsea or something like that. But let's be honest. We all know that it's gonna circle right back to Christina. So all this interviews and everything like that is in reality is just pointless. But Nina, 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 Nina. Nina is the type of person that you have to deal with in retail situations where it's like they feel like they're entitled to something because they spent so much money at that store. When Nina wanted to get in and Dex was like, listen, we can't let you in, it's orders from 30. But I'm practically his wife. Do you pay bills there? No. Then keep moving. What's the problem? Keep moving. Um, she left in a huff with her usual entitled attitude, came back to Sunny, was like, oh, why won't they let me in? Started asking a bunch of questions, and Sunny's like, yo, listen, I can't sit there and tell you everything for your own protection. And she's all like, well, now I feel like one of your employees. When some people actually said that she seemed like she could be cut out for the mob and stuff like that, and I sat there, and a lot of other people in my chat or whatever was just like, no, that's no. This is what I'm simply talking about. With Sonny, he's going to tell you the information that he feels he can tell you because it's in your best interest. It's safer for you. Carly understood that. Okay, Carly understood that. Nina, on the other hand, is feeling some sort of way. She's all caught up in her feelings and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, listen, here's the thing. At the end of the day, that's Sonny's life. Okay, you're either going to hop onto his program or just sit there and call it quits now. I don't know who else you could sit there and pick. Maybe if they put in a new person, but I just don't sit there. I don't see her being cut out for this mob stuff. Because there's way too many instances where it's like you could definitely see it's like, nah, this life ain't for you. And her having her little hissy fit, and be like, what's going on with Ava? What's going on with Ava? Why is she so squirrely for? Da, 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 da. He's protecting his family. That's all you need to know. So of course Betty was able to sit there and get the she was able to download the stuff into her flash drive or whatever. I felt like she was going. I felt like the entire time she was going to be able to get this info because I couldn't see somebody just coming in, Nina coming in, somebody coming in and just ruining the whole thing, and they have to sit there and do it again, or they have to find some other way to sit there and get Betty. So I had a feeling that this was going to go off for the most part without a hitch. I mean, I just I saw it. Avery, Little Princess Avery is definitely coming to our home. Betty was like, "Oh, don't you want to go upstairs and take a nap?" She was like, "No, I want to sit there and watch TV. That's what I want to do." Are you sure? No, I want to sit there and watch TV, and I want to watch it now. I'm not tired. That's for babies. Like, all right. What I didn't understand was Dex coming in there the first time. He told one of the guards, he was like, "Okay, so I have to come in there and make my presence known or whatever." So he came in there, and Betty pretty much like, she kind of made it clear that she wanted to be not disturbed, right? Because he walked in like, "Oh, like what are you doing or whatever." But I felt like there could have been a chance that could have backfired, like, "Oh no, I'm not doing nothing," and she decided to um, not take the flash drive or get the information or whatever. Anyway, for the most part, it pretty much kind of went off without edge. Now, Curtis. Curtis is there pushing away Portia, and he's at physical therapy. I feel like I've seen that actor from somewhere before. I feel like I've seen that guy somewhere before. I don't know where, but I know I've seen that guy somewhere before. Anyway, like I said, Curtis is there pushing away Portia, and Portia, she didn't want to leave. And the therapist was like, "Hey, listen, I've dealt with these type of injuries and stuff like that, and you're gonna just have to give him his time because you coming in and interrupting him and kind of like it can do more harm than good, right?" You would think that she would have got that, even though after she was like, "Oh well, I don't know if my husband told you this, but I'm a doctor." Okay, that's cool, but are you not going to listen to what the therapist says? And of course she didn't because he pretty much kind of made it very clear that you can't, you know, um, he's going to have a lot of recovering to do, and you being there is just going to add more pressure and stress, and maybe even set him back. So what did she decide to do towards the end? Oh, she decided to stay. Just watch him and everything like that. Just completely in one ear, not the other with the therapist. Now, I feel like this whole thing with Gregory and his ALS, um, there was a lot of questions. First of all, I don't understand. This is something that, and I'm not saying all older people. This is something that a lot of older people do, and I don't think they understand just how what's the right word. I don't want to sit there and say presumptuous, but it feels like it's kind of a very rude and somewhat impersonal question. I mean, somewhat of a personal question to some extent because he was like, "Oh, so did you go to college and stuff like that?" I'm like, there's something about that where it's like you don't know what that person was going through at the time, and I understand that a lot of older people want to feel that education is important, which it is, but you don't know that person right off the bat. I mean, they probably had a couple of conversations, but I don't know. There's something about that question that seems like it's just kind of like, okay, yeah, she went to college, whatever. So what happened? Like, really, I feel like there's so many other better questions that they're really asked to get to know a person, especially somebody who's dating your son, than to be sent to ask them about their educational level and why they didn't go back and things of that nature. But anyway, they start talking about Tracy, and eventually Chase does get there. And now Gregory's like, "So, have you guys thought about your future? Are you guys going to live together? This, that, and the third?" Must have freaked Brooklyn out a little because she was like, "Well, I'm just gonna just freshen up my nose." Of course, he's asking these questions because he feels that his body is, for lack of a better word, betraying him. Right? Anyway, Brooklyn gets back. They continue the conversation, and when it comes towards um, Gregory signing the check, his hand or whatever starts acting up. Meanwhile, on the other side of the room. You have this extremely very pointless conversation with Esme and Alexis, right? Giving her compliments and saying she's doing a good job, talking about that, Alexis does kind of miss being a lawyer and stuff like that. Just very mundane sort of questions, but it does get to a point where Alexis must have saw Gregory. See, I knew I should have probably kept that curtain up. 1 second. Oh yeah. So just pretty much kind of a pointless conversation until Alexis saw the fact that Gregory, her hand was acting up. Eventually, she did come over there. They had a conversation about it, and pretty much Gregory was like, I'm running out of time. I mean, I'm not a parent, and so I don't know. I'm not a parent, but I know that he does want to make sure that his boys is, he doesn't want to, I guess, like cause more like this stress and make him sad and stuff like that. But it's getting to a point where it's acting up more frequently, and I feel like they will eventually understand. I'm going to be honest. The fact that they have not figured it out between the two of them is just you got a detective and you have a doctor. No one spotted that at any point in time. I find that to be kind of weird, but okay, whatever. I don't know. I feel like that's about it for the most part. With the exception of like the Lexus and Esme and Brooklyn. And well, the Brooklyn and Chase and Gregory scene was pretty decent. So I would sit there and say for the most part it was a pretty decent episode. I would sit there and say. I feel like that's about it. I can't really think of anything else that wound up happening. Oh yeah, I should sit there and mention Ava was nervous about it from the jump, and Sonny, had to sit there and be like, yo, listen, things are gonna work out the way it's supposed to work out. And he tells her about the plan and everything, just to kind of calm her down. I'm also just like, well, why do you not just sit there and say it from the get go? When she got there, because she kept freaking out, and Sonny was like, no, just chill. I'm like, why don't you give her a reason to chill? Because the minute that he told her about the plan, she was for the most part fine. I'm like, you could have saved yourself a lot of time and a lot of in a headache just by telling her from the start. Anyway, I feel like that's about it. If I missed anything, you know what to do. Come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll sit there and talk about all the soaps, GH Days, YNR, and B&B. And with that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.